A few people are asking for a tutorial on how to get the Eurofighter to space. Seeing as though I'm not a billionaire, I'm going to help you get there today. One thing to note before we get started is I know space starts at 330 kilofeet, and you'll see the altimeter in the game is going to stop rising around 240 kilofeet. But if we do this correctly, you're still going to climb for over a minute after a stop, so it's safe to assume you're going to reach a closer altitude to space than some of the more recent would-be astronauts. I'm showing you gameplay from my Xbox Series X on Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. I'm using my Xbox controller to navigate the menus, but I'm going to be using my Thrustmaster T.Flight 1 for the flight. The audio is recorded from my headset, so I apologize in advance for the poor audio quality. Quick disclaimer, I am not a professional sim player. I have a basic understanding of the simulator, and I discovered this by accident and out of sheer curiosity. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so now that we've got that, let's go ahead and go to the marketplace. Let's go to the full catalog. Come over here to category. Select aircraft. And then it should be at the bottom here. I think I paid around $20 US for this. It's a pretty good aircraft. I think it's worth it. It's already paid off itself for me. Alright, so then we're going to go back to the main menu. Go to world map. Today I'm going to be flying out of Frankfurt, Maine. It's an airport me and my buddy like to fly out of. Alright, so here's the failures all set to off. Everything is set to off. So we can achieve this. Weights and balances. This is all default. I haven't messed with any of this stuff. Feel free to change it around if you want. For the livery, I like to use this red and white one. Better contrast against the sky, I think, so I can see it a little bit better. Alright, so after that, we're going to go to flight conditions. So you can see I have live players, live traffic, and I have it set to live weather. So whatever we get is what we get. Alright, and without further ado, let's go ahead and go into the fly. Alright, so before we get into the actual flight, I'm going to go over my assistant settings, and then I'm going to go over my flight assistant settings. I'm not going to go into detail on each one of these settings. I'm just going to show you what I have set. You can pause the video and make yours look just like this if you like to. Here's the aircraft systems. Failures and damages. Make sure this is set to disabled because this won't work without it. Navigation aids. Notifications. Piloting. Points of interest. And the user experience. So once you've got all these set, I'm going to show you what I have set for my flight assistant. And then from here, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and attempt this flight. Alright, so here's a video from my third attempt. First two didn't work out too well. And I did learn some things that I can go over, and it might be the issues that you guys are running into if you're not able to reach the altitude that I'm able to get to. So this should fix it. So first and foremost, you want to take off at 100% throttle, and as soon as you're off the ground, pull up your flaps, pull up your landing gear. And then the key is to maintain a nice and low altitude. Alright, do not let off the throttle, just try to keep it nice and low. What you're looking for is anything above 1250 knots. I think in this video I got my aircraft up about 1300. So once you get up to about 1250 knots, then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to pull straight back on your stick. And as you're climbing, you're about to hit completely vertical, you're going to see your airspeed start slowing down, and then it's going to spike upwards to about 3,000 knots. You have to keep pulling back on that stick all the way up through that. So when the airspeed starts dropping off and it starts coming up about 22, 24, 26, 28, keep pulling back. And as soon as it's about 29, you can start going back to center. And then it should hit 3,000 knots, and you'll just be completely vertical. So once you're vertical, you can go back to center, kind of relax, and then you can watch your airspeed and your altitude. So the altitude that I reached right here, the altimeter reached 239, 240, and then it stops. But if you watch, it just keeps climbing and climbing. I think I was upwards like 700, 800 knots still, and I climbed for a good solid minute. And you'll be able to see that in the video. So here I'm going vertical right here. You'll see my airspeed start to drop off here in a second. And I'm still pulling back, trying to keep the aircraft straight. And then the airspeed will just start to spike upwards at 3,000 knots. So once it starts reaching there, you can start going back to center right about now. And then you just let it climb. The altimeter does end up reaching about 240,000, but it continues to climb, like I said, for an extra, probably a solid minute. So I don't know what the actual altitude is. And in the video, I go up, I level off, I come back down, come back down to the deck, and then I shoot back up a second time. And I'll put that in the video so you guys can see it. There won't be any commentary over that, but you can see that's what's the trick is there. Is as long as you're at the right speed and you don't pull back on this, or you don't let go of the stick until it hits 3,000 knots on the initial climb, then you should be good to go. So if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, leave them in the comments, and I'll address them. And hopefully this fixes your problem, and you guys should be able to go to space now.